So I'm going to correct the two questions on the max and min. So question 2 and question 3, all of the slope of tangent questions were fine. So we'll do the two of these, and I've picked out some exam questions based on the max and min, and I'll send them on to you just so you can get a little bit more practice with those. So first of all, here we have a function. Remember, this is just the name of the function. We've x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2. Now, first of all, I can see straight away that would be a cubic function. So it's going to have two curves, okay? When we differentiate a cubic function, it becomes a quadratic. So it's either going to be U-shaped or N-shaped, okay? So it's saying find the derivative, hence find the coordinates of the maximum and minimum points. So part 1, find the derivative. So it's f prime of x. 3 is multiplied by 1, so it's 3x, and we reduce the power by 1, so it's 3x squared. Minus 2 times 3 is 6 x, and we reduce the power of 2 to the power of 1, which we don't need to write down. And because this is not an x term, we don't differentiate because we're only differentiating with respect to x. So that's your answer to the first part. Part 2, hence find the max and minimum points. So first of all, here what you're looking at, and I suppose this would throw you a little bit. This is not a typical quadratic, so what we'd be expecting would be ax squared plus bx plus c, but it doesn't have the plus c, the constant, so it's a little bit different. So we would be actually factorising this using highest common factor, not using back-to-back brackets or guide number or minus b formula. Okay, so that's something that would throw people at this point. So your first step, if you were asked to find the max and the min, the first step is always to differentiate. So we actually have the first step done for the max and min. Okay, your second step every time is to let the derivative, okay, equal 0. So second step, 3x squared minus 6x equals 0. Third step is to solve this. Now, when I said we're going to factorise using the highest common factor, that means I can rewrite this side by taking out the 3 and an x, and we're left with x minus 2 equals 0. Okay, now if third step means we're solving it, it means at the end of the third step you should have your x values. So remember, if it's a quadratic, we let both brackets equal to 0. So 3x equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0. 3x is 3 times x, so when we move times to the other side, we end up with 0 over 3, which is just 0. And over this side, moving negative 2 to the other side becomes positive. So your two x values, at the end of your third step, you should have your two x values. So these are the x values of your turning points. So it's going to be 2 something and 0 something. Okay, so remember your x's are always on the left, your y's are on the right, and these are going to be the two turning points, which is like up here and here. Now, fourth step is to sub back into the original, and that's really, really important and something that people forget to do. So you don't sub back into the derivative, you go back up to the original function and sub back in your two x values. So I'm going to do them separately. X equals 0, so it's going to be 0 cubed minus 3 times 0 squared plus 2. And over this side, it's going to be 2 cubed minus 3 times 2 squared plus 2. 0 cubed is 0. 0 squared is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. So this point here is just 2. So the turning point is 0, 2. And over here, 2 by 2 by 2 is 8. Minus 2 by 2 is 4. 3 fours is 12. Plus 2. 8 minus 12 is minus 4, minus 4 plus 2 is minus 2. So this point is 2 minus 2. Okay, And in order to determine which one is a max and which one is a min, okay, we're going to look at the y values. So 0, 2, okay, would be higher up. So if you were to think of your graph, okay, 0, 2 is like here, okay, and 2 minus 2. So this is 2 minus 2 will be down here. We know it's in this shape because it's cubic and it's going uphill from left to right because it's positive x cubed. So what we have here is something that looks like this, which means that 0, 2 must be the max and 2 minus 2 must be the min. Okay? Okay, next question. Question 3. We have find the coordinates of the local maximum of the curve y equals 6x squared minus x cubed given that the local minimum is at 0, 0. So what they've done here is they've actually told you what the minimum is, so you only need to find the other turning point. So our first step again, okay, is y equals 6x squared minus x cubed. We need to find dy dx, which is the derivative of y. So 2 times 6 is 12x minus 3 times 1 is 3x squared. That's your first step done, finding the derivative. Second step, okay, we let the derivative equal 0. So 12x minus 3x squared equals 0. Sorry, I just want to talk about the shape of that curve. Because it's a cubic function, okay, we are looking at two curves, but because it's negative, it means it would go downhill first, okay, from left to right, because it's negative x cubed. So we're looking at our max and min here somewhere. So this is a little bit like the last one, and I think maybe it's what threw you as well. So we'd be taking out the highest common factor again here. Okay, so second step is let it equal to 0. Third step is solve. So I'm going to take out 3x as the highest common factor. 3x times 4 would give me 12x. 3x times minus x would give me minus 3x squared, and let it equal to 0. So 3x equals 0, x equals 0 over 3, x equals 0. We saw that in the last example. Now, what I'm going to point out to you here is we're trying to find two x values, but we actually don't need the two of them this time because we already know that the minimum point is 0, 0. So we don't need to sub this 0 in to the original because we know it's going to be 0, 0. You know the answer is going to be, when you sub in 0 back into the original, you know the answer is going to be 0 because you know that point. So this is actually the point we're going to be working with. So I'm going to let this bracket equal to 0. 4 minus x equals 0. Minus x equals minus 4. The variable can't be negative here, so we divide across by minus 1 or multiply across by minus 1. But basically what that means is all of the signs will change. So it becomes x equals 4. Okay, so we're going to sub this one back into the original, our fourth step. We go back to the original function, which was 6x squared minus x cubed, and we sub in 4. So 6 times 4 squared minus 4 to be cubed. So 6 times 4 4s are 16. 4 by 4 is 16, by 4 is 64, so minus 64. 60, 6 6s, that's 96, minus 64. So your y value is 32. Okay, so what they're saying there, just actually I should have said there, I would just put all of that into the calculator, okay, just to be sure and just to double check. So what we're looking at there is our maximum value is at 432. Okay, so this is, say if we go to our picture, 0, 0 is our min, and this here would be 432. Okay, I think if you get used to following the steps, it makes it a good bit easier. And again, I'd say this caused the problem here. The fact it wasn't a standard quadratic, so how to solve it is using the highest common factor. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to send on, I picked out other sample questions, language a little bit different in some of them as well, just to kind of challenge you a bit. So I'll send them on as well.